Well, hello there, ye faithful few, and welcome back to DMS Adventures, where a humble heart is usually the best place to start. So one of the primary focuses of our channel is to help other people out there that want to take their kids out on a backpacking trip. When I decided to try and do this with our kids, I just didn't find a whole heck of a lot of good information, especially in the way of logistics and planning and weights and types of gear for the kids and stuff like that. So in that vein, I wanted to take some time to share with ye faithful few 5 takeaways we had from our 8th ever backpacking endeavor down in Tennessee. So if you watched that series, you saw that we had lofty goals, high ambitions, and we were not able to quite meet those. So looking back on that trip, I have maybe 5 takeaways from there that we could have done differently in order to help us accomplish our goal. So takeaway number 1, and keeping with that air of humility, I think I bit off more than we could chew. So day 1 was just 2.35 miles in, not a big deal. We've done that plenty of times before. The next day was 2.35 miles back out, and then an additional 7 miles on that. And we've never hiked with a full day before. So I thought we would have time to take breaks and all that stuff and be able to make those miles in a day. And obviously that turned out to not be the case. I was thinking the Rugged Mountain siblings had already done the 6.2 miles in Brown County, and so I thought with more time in a day, we'd be able to get about 9 miles in. But one thing is that's still far for them, especially Rugged Mountain Mister. And 2, Rugged Mountain Mama hadn't done that 6-mile trip with us, so it was going to be really pushing her. So next time I will try and be a little less ambitious on the amount of miles that we're going to do on a given day. Now takeaway number 2 is something that plagues a lot of beginner backpackers, and that is taking too much food. You know, when you got kids, you don't like to see them hungry, you don't like to hear them complaining about being hungry. And so I kind of just kept adding a snack here, snack there, snack here, snack there into everybody's pack to where I think we ended up with just too much food. We ended up coming back from the trip with about 1.5 pounds or so of food left over, and that's just kind of a lot. So we had our meals planned very specifically with just eat this and just eat that. It was the snacks were the extra things that got thrown in. So I think on the next trip, we will reduce the snacks and just really look forward to meal times. It's not like we're doing through hiking here and need a bunch of calories to get all the miles done in a day. We should be able to make it with just the meals. So next multi-day trip attempt, we will try and dial down the amount of food that we take. Now, takeaway number 3 is a little trickier. Now, I think we packed in way too much water for this particular trip. Now, in our defense, I think the reason for that was on our 3rd ever backpacking endeavor, we didn't bring enough water in, and we didn't have any water sources near the camp in order to refill for the next day. And water being at 2.2 pounds per liter is something that you really want to get right. So I thought everybody's base weight was actually pretty reasonable. Rugged Mountain Mister, we had him about 5.3 pounds. Rugged Mountain Sister, we had under 10 pounds. Rugged Mountain Mama was at about 16 pounds. And then if you take my chest rig off, my base weight was around 17 pounds. So I think all those weights are pretty perfect for us. And so the only problem was when we started adding that food and adding that water in, we ended up getting up higher than we're used to carrying on just an overnight trip. So with food and water, Rugged Mountain Mister ended up at about 6.5 pounds. Rugged Mountain Sister ended up at like 16 pounds. She carried the most food because we were using the food she was carrying on the first night. So she'd be able to go the rest of the trip without any food load. Rugged Mountain Mama ended up a little over 20 pounds, and then I ended up at around 29 pounds. So I did my research on the trail before we left, and there was a water source that was 0.1 miles from our campsite. But you can never be 100% sure that that water will be there and not dried up. So I erred on the side of caution. We packed in all the water that we needed, and that ended up being around 8 pounds. But once we got to the campsite, the water source was there, and we were able to get all the water that we needed, and then we were able to get some on our way out as well. So although it's a tricky thing to do, I think we could reduce our water weight that we're carrying. Now, takeaway number 4 is a logistical decision that I think could have made a big difference in us being able to have time to accomplish our goal. We had a delicious Peak Refuel biscuits and gravy to try out, so we ended up staying in camp in the morning and cooking our breakfast, which really ended up making us stay at camp too long. So by the time we left camp, we had already lost probably 2 or 3 good hours of hiking. So next time for the Rugged Mountain Gang, it's breakfast on the go. There are still some great options for breakfast on the go. You got some Cliff bars, you got breakfast bars, you got cereal bars. You can even do a Carnation instant breakfast in one of your water bottles, shake that up and be drinking that as you're walking along. So next time we try a 2-night adventure, that is what we're gonna do. Takeaway number 5 from our 8th ever backpacking endeavor is this: be ready, willing, and able to change your plans at the last minute. Especially in backpacking with kids, it's super important to keep a good attitude, to stay positive, not get irritated or anything when your plans have to change, even though that can be pretty frustrating sometimes. But needing to change plans is just a part of parenting, part of having kids, and so it is logical that that would come into play even when you're out in the backcountry. And kind of piggybacking onto that 5th takeaway is to keep at it. Just because you have to change your plans doesn't mean you can't try the same thing next time. Just try to learn from the experience and take that knowledge and be able to apply it to your next trip. So we very much plan to attempt a 2-night adventure in the future. Hopefully that'll be the 9th ever backpacking endeavor, and we will most certainly bring ye faithful few along for the ride. So I really hope this was helpful to any of you out there trying to get your kiddos out into the backcountry, enjoying creation, and just having a great time in the outdoors. So if you hung around this long, I want to thank you for sticking with us, and you all have a great day.